Hello and welcome to the Ganru Hua Show. I'm Golda.
I'm Wanru.
And I'm Hua.
And this is a podcast that's just like hanging out with your three best friends.
It's like going on a coffee date that's so good, it turns into dinner and then dessert.
And then maybe breakfast.
Oh.
You like that?
That's how he rolls.
Why not? Why not? It's like having your two best friends meet and fall in love, have kids, and then name all of the children after you.
All of them.
All five of them.
Or it's like going out on a first date with someone who you really like, and before you get a chance to text them, they text you first.
Aww. What can be sweet?
That's sweet.
I'm
That's
always
nice.
sweet. Thank you.
So,
In today's episode, we'll be talking about the brave new world of online dating, and you'll find out why Hua has Microsoft to thank for his many dating successes.
And you'll also find out why if your name is Raffaello, you should definitely call Wanru.
Hey, ciao.
bello. So, let's get started.
So we're going to launch right into it. Our main topic today, the brave new world of online dating.
Gosh, I can't wait.
So this will be a perspective from someone who's in the midst of online dating, which is me. Someone who's married but has been very active in online dating in the past, which is our friend Hua, who we'll introduce shortly. Hi, Hua.
Hi, Wanru.
And of course, Golda, who's been happily coupled for how long?
11 years.
11 years. And she just missed this whole online dating phenomenon.
Yeah, so I'm very curious as to how you navigate. And also, as someone with a lot of single friends, how does someone like me and get support,
Totally.
in terms of helping out,
Yes.
find that special someone.
So we're going to cover all the bases, whether you're single or married and want to help people out, just curious about what all these terms are, or what if you're thinking about getting back into the dating pool? These will be very helpful tips, we hope.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Like you're divorced,
Or recently broke up with
Yeah.
somebody
or you were a monk.
and you're like, this is not my bag. Let's see how the other half lives.
You got kicked out of the seminary, whatever. We're here
Yeah.
for you,
Yeah.
right? All right, so let's introduce our my male dating expert, my personal, I would say, dating guru on the male
It's a lot
spectrum.
of pressure.
And what you mean by that, Wanru, is that whenever you have a question, is Hua your consultant, your coach, your dating coach?
Absolutely. Whether
Okay.
he likes it or not, he's going to be
I
the
love it. I
he
love it.
loves it. He's going to be the male authority on online dating. So, Hua, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yes.
for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. So, first of all, I have my reasons as to why you're my dating guru, but maybe you can give us a little background on what you are outside of the dating sphere.
For sure. So let me see. So I grew up in LA. My parents and I and my brother, our family immigrated here from Vietnam, Chinese, but we immigrated here when I was a kid. Went to Berkeley for college, and
We both went to Berkeley.
went to Berkeley, although I don't think Wanru did.
Wanru doesn't know about like some of the haunts, the Berkeley haunts.
Like
that-
landmarks, like famous
How do you
landmarks.
not know that, Wanru?
Let's not delve into my
Sorry.
Segue.
my
Sorry.
pedigree.
My bad.
But I do confirm that Hua and I never we went to school at the same time. I never saw him at UC Berkeley.
But Wanru, I will dare to say that you do have photographs of yourself in front of Berkeley landmarks on campus. So there is some evidence there.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Okay, we have photographic
Got
evidence.
it.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry.
For your bio.
Anyways, so I graduated from Berkeley, worked in consulting for a few years, went and got my MBA at UCLA.
Yeah, woo!
Go UCLA.
Go Bruins.
And then came out, worked in marketing for a couple years, and transitioned over into nonprofit education, which I've been working for the past 14 years or so. So it's been a while. Love it. Love the work. Yeah, I'm really glad I'm able to do something that I really care about as a career, which I count myself really fortunate to be able to do. On the personal front, married, been married for the past year and a half or so.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And before that, did a whole lot of online dating.
Yeah.
And you know, Hua is not only a really smart guy, obviously, because he went to graduate school, right? What did you say about the UCLA MBA people?
Yeah, so the MBA at UCLA is called the Anderson Graduate School of Management. And then when I was a very, very svelte undergrad, I would look in awe at the folks that were coming out of the management, UCLA Anderson School of Management buildings. And I always wondered, wow, they must be really smart because they look different. They carry themselves a little bit
It's
different.
the khakis.
It's the khakis, the polos, the collar up, and the briefcases instead of
Briefcases.
backpacks. At least in my era.
And how did the other graduate students look?
They look like early days hipsters.
Gotcha.
Like the scruff. The Birkenstocks were really big, or the remember those? I think they still wear them. Those blue and white Adidas slippers.
Oh,
flip-flops?
yes. Oh, yes.
With the socks.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
yes.
was the thing.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
Hua never wore those Adidas slippers.
I don't know if I did. I may have. I might
Okay.
have worn them with shorts and socks, actually.
Whoa,
Yeah.
That's
okay.
brave.
Yeah, yeah.
That's brave
In my
for the
undergrad
shorts.
days. Undergrad
Okay.
days.
Okay.
All right.
But see, just like he optimized his work life, he actually had a very systematic way of dating, of pursuing online dating, which is why I asked him to be my expert. Also, he's always asking me about online dating and my dating life. He has a general interest in me all the time and what I'm doing. But I actually respect him because, hey, look, he's got the results. He's married.
Yeah.
Well, we can get into that later. But you were telling us earlier, Hua, a little bit about how your dating life was kind of influenced by your work life, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's right. I was, I would say through most of my 30s, I was single, dated different people, but never was in like a long-term committed relationship. And I was just trying to figure like why is that? I feel like I'm a good catch. Right?
Yeah.
It's okay. Just say it. Just say it. You're saying you are
Own
the-
it.
Yeah, own it. Yeah.
Yes.
And I was just like, what is happening? I don't understand why I'm not able to get a girlfriend. Because, I tell a story about I have a friend who was in a long-term relationship, lived with his girlfriend, got engaged, we're going to get married. And then a month before the wedding, she breaks it off. And of course, he's devastated. And then 6 months later, he meets somebody new, engaged again, and married, and now with 2 or 3 kids. And I was like, it only took him 6 months to find like the love of his life.
What's he doing?
Exactly. So I
Yeah.
felt like I was doing something wrong. So I thought about like work, and I'm really good at finding jobs and getting hired, but I can't get a girlfriend. And so the more I thought about it as a selection process. Right? It's a process to get picked to either get hired to do a job or get picked to be a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever. Right?
Yeah,
And so, anyways, I started thinking about it in a more systematic way, as you mentioned.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
When you started doing the online dating, how many years did you do online dating before you got married?
Great question.
I want to say, let me break it up into 2 different pieces.
Okay.
I would say there's a piece of me when I did online dating, which was, I think probably how most people do it, where they kind of do it. It's kind of half-assed, like, once in a while I'll check my Match.com account or whatever. And then there's probably a period of like the last 3 years before I got married where I was focused and it was like a part-time job. And I think if you're going to do online dating, that's the way you got to do it.
Interesting.
Yeah, because like the other way of like, I'll just check, once a week or once every other couple weeks, or I haven't touched my profile in 3 weeks. I think it's just a lot tougher that way.
You know what I love? I love that you just compared to online dating to finding a job, because as a person, a professional in the HR industry, and I've been specifically geared towards talent acquisition and all of that in a very competitive environment, right? This thing that they always call war for talent in corporate America. I love that, because what I always tell folks who are looking for a job and they're striking out, they're not finding the right job, they're not getting the offers, they're always, close but no cigar kind of a thing.
Right.
I always say, well, how serious are you about finding the job? And you're right. If you're half-assing it, you're just like, just kind of peruse and see what's out there, like every now and again, you're gonna get like hit or miss.
Half-assed effort results in half-assed results.
Exactly.
Nice one,
Exactly. So I think that it's interesting that you should say that, because I really believe that the time that you put into it, I always say it's a job looking for a job,
That's right.
right?
And it's a job looking for a partner.
Totally.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a couple of years there, with the 3 years, it was just, how consistent would you say? Were you like every day?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So tell us about
yeah. What does that look like?
what's changed in your behavior from the half-assed or casual, let's just say casual, dating period, and tell us what you were like during your very focused dating period.
So I'll say, and I think maybe it's changed a little bit from when I first started, where there's kind of your eHarmony, your Match.coms of the world, and now there's a million different apps that you can be on, which require a lot less effort to connect with people.
Interesting.
And so back in the day when I first started,
We'll call it phase one.
Phase one with Match.com or eHarmony, like you got to get online and email people or whatnot, and that just takes time, and nobody wants to do that, especially after you've worked a long day and you're getting home, and maybe you went to work out and you're tired, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to get online for another half hour when I don't have to be. And so I didn't. And so maybe once a week on the weekends, I'd hop on and I'd check my profile, and then maybe email a couple of people or whatever. And yeah, I think in general, you see limited results. You'll get a date every couple months, something like that. Because at the end of the day, for me, I think it's a numbers game, right? To your point, when you're looking for a job, like you can't apply to like 2 jobs, right? You got to apply to like 10 or 20. And then at the end of the day, you get 5 offers and you figure out which one you want the most, right? And so I think online dating or dating in general is a little bit like that. If you're not one of the, the lucky ones that like found something in college or something like that, where, you're just out, you took a class and you happened to bump into somebody that you like, right? And so versus when I got, quote unquote, serious about it, it was like
phase
every
2.
day.
Every day.
I like literally thought about it as a part-time job.
Wow.
And you had certain systems you would employ, like you had an Excel sheet, right?
An Excel spreadsheet.
I had an Excel spreadsheet. There's a reason for it.
Okay.
There's a reason for it. So the reason for the Excel spreadsheet is because once you get into the habit of being online and emailing multiple people,
it gets confusing
every night.
Yeah.
Then you start going to multiple dates.
Yeah.
Right. Multiple dates in a week with multiple different people in a week. And so there'd be a time where I specifically remember I was talking to a woman, and I think we maybe gone on one date, and then I reached out to her, and we're talking. I want to think on our second date, and I was like, "Oh, so like, how's your sister doing?" Right? She's like, "I don't have a sister.
I'm an only child."
Yeah, and then I was like, "Oh,
You don't pay attention to me. This is over.
That
You
was
mean my sister who died in a car crash when I was 13? Thanks for bringing up that painful moment in my life, Hua.
And that's when I was like, "Oh yeah, that was the other woman I went on a date with." And
Oh my gosh.
After that, I was like, "All right, I need to start taking notes."
That's very thoughtful of you, though. I mean,
You
it sounds like kind of a very clinical approach to have a spreadsheet, but actually what I'm hearing is that you have the spreadsheet in order to be considerate to the people that you're talking to, so that you're not mixing up information and then bringing up or dredging up potentially painful memories.
And we're not saying you need to have a spreadsheet,
No,
although
but
we
if it-
love Microsoft Excel 97. Thank you very much. But it's just a way of organizing all
Yeah.
these people that you're going to be introduced to.
I could see the value in that. Keep everything straight for sure.
Right? And just being mindful.
And to go back to the whole looking for a job thing, I've been in situations where I'm talking to a candidate, and I'll talk to the candidate and I'll say, "Oh, so you're applying for the project manager role." They're like, "Which role was this one again?" And they forget which one. And
Right.
we're a real estate company. They're like, "Oh, I always wanted to go into investment banking." And I'm like, "We're not an investment banking company." So had they had the spreadsheet,
There you
Right.
go.
there you go.
There you
Right.
go.
Yeah.
Okay, so definitely you had 2 different plans of action during your casual phase 1 and then your more active phase 2. Were your results different?
I think in terms of the number of dates you go on, definitely, right? I mean, there are definitely times when you're reaching out, and my friends and I, who are all kind of doing the online dating thing at the same time, there are times where we call it it's either feast or famine.
Yeah.
There are times where you go for like a month or 2, you get nothing. You're like emailing every night, and you're trying to talk to different people, and you just get nothing, and you got no dates. And then there are other times where you've got like 5 dates in a week. right?
Oh,
Yeah.
was there a trend as far as when was
There's no trend.
it's like in the winter are people
Nope.
not as interested in dating?
You would think you'd be
Right,
like, it's
or-
Hanukkah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be dead, but no, it'll be like super busy. You
mean
don't know what it is.
A couple of weeks before Thanksgiving, it gets really busy.
You
No?
never know. You
Okay,
never
there's
know.
There's
rhyme
no
or
rhyme or
reason.
reason.
Okay,
No,
got
you
it.
just kind of go with it. So.
I'm curious about the spreadsheet. Going back to this because I'm
Yeah.
systematic like
Yeah.
that. What do you have on the spreadsheet?
So I will actually I justify it because I actually learned something about when
Okay.
I did the spreadsheet, and so I have the day we went on a date, the person's name,
That's useful.
how many dates I've been on,
Oh.
some details about them, and then where I met them. Did I meet them on Match? Was it eHarmony?
That's
Was it
good.
Coffee Meets Bagel? Just so I can
Nice.
track like
Yeah.
where am I having the most success. And then
That's good.
I'd write like notes about them, but also notes about the date, how it went, etc., how I'm feeling about it. And so one thing that I learned was, I try to be open in terms of going on dates. And so let's say you go on a date and it didn't go great on the first date, but you're like, I want to give this person a shot, right?
Sure.
And so you go on a second date. And so I'd capture these notes, right? And the thing I learned about myself is that every time I went on a first date and I felt like there wasn't chemistry and I wasn't sure if I should go on a second date, but I did. It never ended up going anywhere. And so after a while, I was like, okay, I'm just going to trust my gut, right? Like I
Interesting.
think after the first date, if I'm not feeling it, no need to go on a second date.
And let me ask you this: prior to you doing the spreadsheet, you were more open and inclined to go on that second date, even
Yeah,
though.
definitely.
Oh, interesting. So this is where the spreadsheet was useful for you because you were able to see trends, right?
Exactly.
And learnings. I like this process. I can see the value in that for sure.
UCLA Anderson School of Business right here. Right here.
Okay.
I don't know how excited UCLA will be about that, but
What were the things that didn't work, but what were some of the things that did work with having the spreadsheet, where you're like, yep, I knew that was going to happen because I captured this data from my spreadsheet.
like for me, I think the most important thing was just remembering the details about people. And because in the week where you're going on 5 different dates, you are going to have trouble keeping track of
Sure.
details about different people. And so, just to be respectful of them and not get them confused, I think it's important to get those details right.
And I think too, it sounds like it was a useful tool to get to know yourself a lot. So in addition to sort of keeping everything organized, it's also a way to see like, what do you gravitate towards, or what are those things that are important to you? And, and in a more concrete way, being able to define what those things are versus kind of drifting and kind of thinking, oh yeah, sort of. Yeah. Right.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
And
That's
of
great.
course, because it's a spreadsheet, you had a ranking, didn't you?
Oh boy.
Did you
now
have a
we're
ranking?
getting,
I didn't
now
know.
we're getting to it.
I never. I did have, there are a lot of bad things about me. One of them is not ranking people.
Okay.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing about you.
How about no asterisks or secret codes?
But I yeah, but like
No?
literally,
Okay.
it was like one line after the other and different people's names. And so, yeah, I can talk about where my wife ended up being on that list later on.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll get into that.
Okay.
That's very exciting. So we'll save that for later.
Got it.
Okay, but before we launch into our best tips and everything, let's just do a quick primer because I think a lot of people who have been out of the dating field will not be able to grasp this concept.
Yeah, what
of
can people
online dating.
expect if they've only heard of this in theory, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe want to dip their toe into the dating pool, maybe they got a little scared or intimidated or suddenly find themselves available. What can they expect?
Okay, so I'm just going to do a brief overview
Yeah.
and you guys chime in if you guys disagree or agree.
Yeah.
So, like Hua said, probably 5 or 6 years ago, most online dating happened on the computer, on a website like Match.com or eHarmony, usually or OkCupid, usually a paid subscription service or free to enter, and then you can upgrade
Right.
to a more features type of plan.
Like more photos? Is that one of the features?
Usually it's more information. You can get more information about the person, or your message usually gets bumped up and they see your message first, things like that.
Interesting.
Okay, so that was probably
Okay.
5 years ago,
Okay.
I would say, with the predominant dating field of online. But now there's been an explosion. I would say this is now even the second generation of online dating, which is primarily the apps. And it's because you always have your phone with you. And there are so many apps. I'm just going to list them right now. Tinder, Grinder is the one that most gay people use. Grinder. Coffee Meets Bagel. Okay, Cupid has an app. Match.com has their own app. I believe. Bumble. Hinge is another one. And each one target, I would say, a slightly different demographic and age range. You yourself can just do some research to see which one of these appeals to you and also which user interface you enjoy.
Okay.
But the format is the same. Usually it will be your profile, which will be like your cover letter, right? Or your LinkedIn profile.
Right.
Then they can click in and read the details about you. And then they can decide whether they're going to like or dislike you, which is where the
That's
term
where the fun begins.
exactly. And it's where that term left swipe, right swipe was born. Because generally a left swipe is not interested. Right swipe is potential interest.
Okay.
Then you will match with this other person. No personal information is exchanged, but a chat line will open, at which point you guys can communicate. And so you can exchange information if you want or start a conversation without having to give out your phone number.
And
Okay.
what does this initial conversation usually look like? Is it just a back and forth sort of writing? Like, what do you say?
What's up, baby?
Hey, I like your blouse that you have in your profile picture.
Or it could just be, hey.
I think it depends, right? I think.
Like, what do you do?
I assume if you're, I mean, taking from a guy's point of view, if you're trying to get a woman interested in you and responding, because I think as a general, if you're a man and you are looking for a woman, attractive women have a million guys who are all swiping right, and so what about you is gonna stand out, right? And so and it's probably different for everybody, but yeah, hey baby may not work that great.
How about, hey, baby, I have a Lamborghini.
That would work. That would work on me. I'll tell you that much.
Or, hey, baby, I like to clean kitchens, especially between the crevices.
Hey, baby, I respect your mind and your body, and I hope Ruth Bader Ginsburg lives forever.
Hey, baby.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Start chatting with this guy.
Hey, baby, ... Now, what's up with you? I want to hear all about you. Enough about me. Wow.
I just
There
want
it
to listen.
is.
I
just want to
to you.
listen.
Yeah.
Listening is my number one skill.
Hey, baby, I know how to make a vegan brownie gluten-free.
Hey, baby.
Does that turn on for anybody? We're just trying these out. And is this working for anybody?
Yeah. Hey, baby, I know of at least 20 low carb recipes I can, I
babe.
can whip up for you right now. in about
Hey,
10
baby,
minutes.
I'm keto and paleo friendly. Regardless.
Very specific to the individual.
Regardless, the more effort you put into reading their profile and crafting a honed response, the more likely you're going to get a response.
But
right?
I want to hear from Hua, like when you do the initial, what has been a good sort of 90% success rate
Good one.
to get somebody like, yes, I'm going to respond to you?
There's no such thing as 90%. I'm associated.
Oh, really?
Again, as a guy reaching out to who you think are attractive women
Yeah.
who are getting like 100 hits or whatever,
Yeah.
right? You're just hoping to like do that one thing, and it depends on who you are, right? Like for me, the one thing that I really care about is the fact that I work in a nonprofit, and some women really dig that. Right? And then like when they hear nonprofit, they're like, oh, like this person's doing something that they really care about. They're trying to help the world in some way,
Yeah.
right? And they want to learn more. And some women don't, right? And for me, like that's great. That's a great screen,
Yeah.
right? And so I don't have to waste my time with people who just aren't down for that, right? And so anyways, it's a really
That's
good way to do it.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So to come up with some questions or statements that will really help you weed out. Or how about weed in?
Both.
You're weeding
Yeah.
in people. Oh, interesting.
Weeding
Okay.
in. Interesting.
Yeah, or allowing in.
Well, regardless of how you initiate contact, that is how the basic operation of online dating for those who have no concept about online dating. I think it can be
Yeah.
a really weird world because this has never occurred in the history of human coupling ever.
Yeah, like back in the day, I think it was like, what was that show that the 2 and 2, that guy, Chuck Woolery, that Love Connection? Like they would have, like in terms of before online dating, how did people get together, right?
I'll
that
tell
was
you.
more systematic
You'd
like
be
that?
in a village and, one father would say to another father, my daughter's 12 and your son's 13. 4 years, how about they get married? And they're like, okay. That's how it was done back in the day.
But what about the time kind of after that? Right?
I mean, if you think about it, right, people go to bars, they go to gatherings, or they go to
Yes.
dinner parties, right? And people like you still do all of those things, but
And you should do all of those things we should mention. Like, don't rely just on the online
right.
crutch. Yes, go on.
Absolutely. But like, can you imagine like if your strategy was to go to bars and meet women and being so successful that you line up 5 dates in a week? Like that's super. I'm sure
That's a
there are
lot of work.
men who out there who can do it, but I think most men probably cannot. I know I could not.
Yeah.
But with the online world, like you can actually do that. Right.
Yeah.
It just opens up to the whole different world of possibilities where even at a bar, if you go up to talk to somebody, you have no idea what are they in a relationship? Are they not in a relationship? Are they looking to be in a relationship? You have no idea. Everybody online is looking for somebody.
For a connection of some
Yeah,
type.
exactly. And so it just narrows down your field of possibilities of people who are all interested in meeting up or in one way or another.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the main thing about online dating is it is an explosion and a huge volume of people that you're being exposed to that you would not on a regular basis. I went on a date with a guy, and he told me that it has been the most useful tool for him because of the reasons that you mentioned. Number one, when you see a woman in public, she might be with a horde of other women. How are you going to penetrate that horde? How do you know if she's single? How do you know if she's not going to reject you? You know, all of these are unknowns, right? And as a woman or anybody who's looking to hit on anybody in any public arena, you can encounter all these difficulties, these hurdles, and of course you face the possibility of rejection. But now when you have this ability to connect with so many people who are interested in connecting with you, you can actually line up more dates and meet with more people, and in a greater geographical area, and in a larger age demographic, and in a larger ethnic demographic. You are tapping into, I would say, a brave new world of online dating, right? I mean,
It just opens up the possibilities.
yeah, but just as with anything, just like the internet was a new, amazing, powerful technology, this is a very powerful tool, but it has some very difficult aspects emotionally
Yeah.
and psychologically as well.
Okay.
So do you guys have any other introductions onto why the dating world is different? Any other things to add?
No, I mean, I think that it's in a lot of ways it's made it a lot simpler so that you eliminate a lot of guesswork. It sounds like,
Yeah.
and everyone's on the same page. What are the disadvantages of online dating?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I
What
think-
are the bad parts?
I think one thing that's a benefit and a huge disadvantage is the volume that we talked about, right? And so I think people's mindsets have shifted in a way. And so what I mean by that is that if you go out and you meet somebody at a bar, and by doing that you get whatever, one date a month or one date every other couple of weeks, let's say you go on a date, it goes pretty well, but not amazing. Maybe you give that person another shot, right? With online dating, there's so many people out there that I think there is the chance that somebody goes on a date, has an okay date, and decide, you know what, there are 5 other people that I've got lined up already who I'm going to go on dates with. And so because this date wasn't perfect, I'm going to pass on them and I'm going to go on all these other dates, instead of just being patient and giving this person another chance, right? I think that is something that's happening.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you have a smaller window to actually prove yourself, or for the other person to prove themselves to you, or to make that connection. And sometimes things take some time, right?
Yeah. And I would say I'm not even sure if it's like a time period. It's just that people's attention spans are less.
Right, exactly.
Their energies
Exactly.
are more dispersed, right? There's more
Interesting.
people contacting them. So even if they want to contact you again, because of so much stimulus and so many other things happening, their energies are sort of spread out all over the place. So that's another thing too.
Interesting.
That's a great question. though.
What happens after you? So let's say you're texting with them or whatever, and you're making a connection. Then the next step is, hey, let's meet up for something,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's the next step.
Yeah, I generally in the past, I would do drinks
Okay.
just because I used to do dinner, and then but you have to remember, you've never met this person before, so you have no
True,
idea.
true.
Are they awesome and fun? Are they boring? And so when I used to do dinners, I'd go on a dinner, and literally there's one dinner where I was I was in the middle of the meal. I was like, I just think, please God, do not order dessert.
And then they bring the menus out. Dessert?
Yeah, I was like, I just want to go home.
Like,
and so after that, drinks or coffee.
Okay.
Because after an hour of drinks or coffee, you've got a thing you've got to go to, or a dinner you've got to go to, or whatever. Or if it goes really well, then you keep going, right? And so it just gives you the option of extending or ending if you need to.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. And then subsequent to that, if that goes well, then it'll just proceed with dinners and
Then you're
and
back
events.
into the what normal people do. in
Got
dating.
it. Got it. Now, something that I know that both of you have talked about, at least off camera here, is that sometimes you have multiple things going on, right? So just because you may have gotten that text from somebody saying, "Yeah, I'd love to have coffee with you," so we shouldn't assume that you're the only one that they're having coffee with.
I
right?
think everyone knows, and I hope
Okay.
everyone knows that if you meet someone on an app, they're very likely talking to someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
What's
it's
the
common.
average? Like, how many people at once would you say?
I think it just depends on the person. There is
Yeah.
no average, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some guys literally get one connection a month.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys get no connections, and some guys are probably getting 10 a day. Just depends on the guy or the girl, right?
That's right. That's right. And it all depends on your profile, how good you are on text, like all this
Yeah.
stuff, right? And I think that's another area where, as somebody, if you're looking for a partner, it's an area to get better at, right?
Okay.
It's creating a profile that is more attractive to the people that you're trying to attract. When you're texting or whatever the communication that you're doing is probably text, as my guess. Just being better at that versus, hey, baby.
Now, I know.
Okay,
I know.
was gonna say.
I'm sorry.
So let's
go ahead.
launch right into the tips.
Sure.
Because you've already started with the tip. Would that be your first tip for online dating?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not the like, oh, I'm just going out there and just be myself. Maybe like that.
Nobody wants to see that.
Nobody wants to see yourself. you know.
Nobody cares.
No, when I think about, going back to the analogy of looking for a job, right?
Yeah.
Like, I usually don't go into an interview just talking about whatever I want to talk about.
Yeah, I'm
right?
not going to be talking about succulents like in the first
Exactly.
5 minutes.
Wearing your
They'll be like
sweatpants.
freak show. Okay.
Right. And so you think about like, what are the things that the person that you're talking to is wanting to connect on, and then you connecting on that. Right.
Okay.
And so just being strategic and thoughtful about how you show up on your profile, in your texts, when you go on a first date, etc. Instead of just showing up just to show up.
Putting some thought into it, right?
Yeah.
Not just leaving it all up to chance. Okay.
That's right.
What were you going to say right before I asked him if that was his first tip?
Oh no, I don't remember.
Sorry.
Okay. I have a
tip-
notebook for a reason, and I didn't use it.
Tip number 2, don't cut off someone on your online date.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Because
It'll
they
come.
will go.
It'll come.
Hopefully,
It'll come later.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
that's a wonderful tip, and I will give now my first tip
Okay.
for online dating,
Let's hear it.
which is men and women, everybody out there, get clear about what you want. Are you looking to date because you're just kind of curious and you want to tiptoe? You just want to try it out? Are you there because you want to get married? Are you there because you just want to have as many hookups as possible? Are you there because you're out of a divorce and you want to see what dating is like? Are you there because you want to have a baby and you need to find a partner? Get clear about what you want because it will shape the way you use the app. And I think a lot of people, I will give you one story. It is a really long story, but I'll give you into it. I think a lot of people want a miracle to happen for them when they get on the dating app. And it's not a miracle. No one's going to offer you this beautiful thing unless it's your friend that got married within 6 months. I mean, that guy was amazing. But that's more a rarity, right? It's usually a process that you have to invest in. So I'll give you a really quick story. So Marianne Williamson, oh shoot! I better not get the. Hope I got that. I will fact check this, okay? But I did a workbook, and the author said when she was a kid, she loved Batman and Robin. Remember the original Batman and Robin?
Yeah.
With
Adam West.
Adam West. Thank you so much. She was obsessed with the show, and there was this thing where you could mail in a postcard and meet Adam West in real life, but she thought it was silly to do it. She was embarrassed to admit her huge crush on Adam West. So she couldn't get the guts up to ask her mom to fill out the postcard so that she could enter into the sweepstakes. So the day of the drawing, she watched on TV and she thought by some miracle her non-existent postcard was going to be drawn from the bag. And guess what? It wasn't drawn, and she was devastated. And she goes, this is how I was acting in my love life. And that's why I never got the result I wanted. So when you enter into online dating, you have to get clear. What do I want? Do I want to win a date with or a meeting with Adam West? If it is, you know what you have to do, right? You have to get the postcard. You have to fill it out. You have to put the stamp. And so you have to take those steps. You have to fill out your profile completely. Get good quality pictures. Guys out there, the best place to get good quality pictures is from another girl that you know that you don't have like a sexual relationship with, or I'm trying to date, like, you know, right? Like a platonic friend.
Yeah.
Because guys are terrible at taking pictures of themselves. So get a girlfriend, or a girl, your sister, a cousin, somebody, your mom, somebody who's good at using a camera, like an iPhone camera or whatever smart, because we have amazing smartphones now, to take a really good, relaxed, comfortable picture of you where you're flattered, looks flattering, but it's yourself. So get those good pictures.
Pictures from weddings are good.
Nice pictures from weddings. Mix it up. Fill out your profile. Read other people's profile. Be present and invested in the process. Because if you do a half-ass investment, you're going to get a half-ass result. On the other hand, let's say you're just curious to see what's going to happen. Well, you're going to find out that a light dabbling of curiosity is going to give you a mixed result. It's probably going to give you an unfavorable result, meaning you're going to meet weirdos and you're going to have not a good time on the dates. Now, if you want to hook up, all more power to you, because this is kind of like a new golden age for hooking up. So, but be transparent, right? Be transparent with the people that you meet. Say, I'm extremely attracted to you. I'm just not in a place to have a relationship, but I would love to see you. And then see where it goes. But be respectful of others and yourself.
See you. You're really playing it down there.
I would love to see you with less clothes on.
I would like to see you in the dark.
I would like to see more of you.
Something like that.
Something like that.
We're
Just try
paraphrasing.
that. Try that. But anyway, so that's my number one tip. Get clear on what you want. Don't half-ass it. And invest in it the way you want. Invest in it what you want to get out of it.
That's excellent. I love that.
Yeah, I think on the what you want, I think is really important, because I just had a conversation with a friend. She's 38. She's looking for a male partner, and we're just talking about the online dating stuff. And I was like, "Oh, so what are you looking for?" And she's like, "Probably a guy from between maybe 36 to 42." And so at that point, I just stopped her and asked her, "Is 42 your upper limit?" She's like, "Yeah, I think so."
By the way, see, Hua's trying to make himself sound like he's this gentle guy. But he's not. This is a more kinder, softer side of Hua. Because whenever I hang out with him, he's like, 42, is that your upper limit, woman? What do you think? I think I raised that number up, right, Wanru? 42?
Well, that's what makes him a good coach, right?
Yeah, that's true.
He cuts through all the bullshit.
So how did you really tell her
Well,
that?
so I asked her, I was like, let's say you meet an amazing man who's 43.
Yeah.
Are you cutting him out? She's like, well, no, like I would date him. I'm like, okay, well then 42 is not your upper limit. So why set your range as up to 42 then? Right? And then I went to the extreme. I was like, oh, what about you met an amazing guy who's 60? She's like, oh, no. Like the way I'm like, okay, cool. 50, 55. Right. So what's the real upper limit? Right. And so versus, to your point, picking like the ideal person, right? Just like, because there's maybe a guy out there who's 43. Why cut him out of your search if that's not really where your make or break is?
Right. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
is that tip number 2, widen that net?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, for me, the other one I was gonna talk about was not taking it personally in terms of just dating online, because
That's a great tip.
You're gonna have times where maybe you're reaching out to somebody, you're connecting with them over text, and then you just never hear from them again, or you go out on a date, you think it goes really well, and you're like, hey, we'd love to see you again. And he or she says, yeah, we'd love to see you too. And then you never hear from them again. Like not taking that like that's some like fault on you, right? And maybe the match just isn't there, right? Maybe the chemistry isn't there, and the fit's not there, and that's not you, it's not her. It's just like you two probably were not meant to be together, which is okay, So I think not taking personally is really important. Otherwise, because of the number of people you're dating and you're seeing, like it can get just emotionally draining if you let it get to you in that way.
That's one of the drawbacks of meeting so many people and trying to connect with so many people. There's a lot of opportunities for rejection. It is sad, it's demoralizing. But my tip for that, so this will be my second tip, which is present your best self at all times, meaning look good on the date, dress up. This would be, you said this would be something you might wear on a date.
This would be something I would wear on a date.
This is something I would wear on a date. It's for those of you at home who are watching YouTube. Is this something you would wear on a date?
Absolutely.
And you look great.
Thank you.
And she put on her red lipstick.
Yeah, I'm ready to rock. Later, me and my lovey.
And I'm sitting between
Me and you.
I'm sitting between these two, and I agree. They look fresh. They look like they put a little effort. So show up. Be the best version of yourself, but do not invest too heavily in any one person, energy or time-wise or expectation-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you know, as an observer, I feel like this is that could be potentially really tricky because just that whole aspect of trying to find the love of your life, right? Or forge some serious relationships, hopefully, if that's what you want out of this. You're already coming at it from a place of emotion, right?
Huge stakes, huge expectations.
So I can see how trying to balance that out or having some kind of detachment can be tricky and might even
so
be
true.
an advanced skill set, right? Like maybe you have to kind of like, you know, go through the dumps first, get your bearings, know what the rhythms are, and then, you know, and then get to that point where you can be detached because it sounds like it's a bit of a balance, isn't it? Because you do want to make yourself available, right?
Yeah.
And you have to open yourself up a little bit, but you also have to guard yourself so you're not, you know, feeling like, oh, I'm a loser. How come she didn't call me back or whatever, right?
Totally, yes.
Because that's not necessarily the case at all, right?
Right.
Is what you're saying. But awesome. Well, I have a tip.
Yeah, let's hear it.
As someone who, to quote a term from Bridget Jones' Diary, Bridget Jones is this fictitious character written by Helen Fielding, hence was created into movies. But she had this term where Bridget Jones was always this singleton, someone who was always single, but she had a lot of married friends or people who were in relationships, and they were called the smug marrieds, right? So as someone who is a smug married, right, who might have single friends,
Like Hua is now.
yeah, like Hua is now, right? What can the smug marrieds or the people who are not in the dating scene, what can they do to help or be some sort of support or anything really to folks who are looking? What
Great
would
question.
you say?
I think a couple of things. One is I think in general, no, I don't want to stereotype, but
Go ahead, do it. Let's hear it.
right there's actually I don't think I saw the movie that the he's just not that into you.
Yeah.
Right. I think there are times where maybe somebody goes on a date and you know they have a really good date or whatever. They tell their friend that, oh, we had a good date, but this person never called me. You know, I think sometimes friends, because they're good friends and they care about this person, will say, oh, no, I'm sure he'll call or whatever. And like, I don't know that that's great advice or a great way to comfort your friend because he probably isn't going to call, right? Or she probably isn't going to call. And so I think like, just, you know, we talked earlier about like, how do you explain it when somebody, you know, you seem like you had really good chemistry with, and then they just disappeared off the face of the earth? Like, what does that mean? I was like, my response is they're probably not that interested, you know,
Right.
or not even like there's something wrong with you, but you know, we talked about when you're in online dating, you're probably dating multiple people. And so maybe you just had a really great first date with somebody, but this person just had a great fifth date with somebody else.
Right.
Right. And they're feeling like, oh, you know, Hua's great, but I've seen this other person and I feel like there's real chemistry there. I want to give that a shot. Right.
But Raffaello is just on the next level. Hua's great, but Raffaello, you know, makes a great tiramisu. I'm just going off in my imaginary
Right.
world. Right. And so you can't take it
Yeah.
personally because
Right.
this woman actually liked Hua a lot.
Got it. So you're saying that, you know, by trying to be supportive to your friend, maybe the better approach is just to rip the Band-Aid off and just say, move on. This is not happening.
Maybe.
Interesting.
I would say this. I think being in the sort of in the war zone right now, I think something that would
the
be
jungle,
in the
the
jungle,
malaria infested jungle.
I've got swamp feet.
Yeah.
I'm on my last round of ammunition, guys.
Yeah.
You know,
Sunburnt, lots
Some
of mosquito bites.
bites. Onset of malaria. Yeah. Anyway, no, it's not that bad. It's fun. Okay, I'm having a good time, right, guys? But I would say that I think something that's useful is just keep in mind it's not about you.
Oh,
I think you're
that?
great. I think you're great, Hua. I think you're great, Wander. I think you're great. Sorry, Golda, that person didn't call you back. But I know you're great. And it's something that's going on with them. Just keep going forward. Is that good advice? What do you think? Is that better?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, like I said, it's not like there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with them. It just wasn't a match, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Right. Like not everybody that you meet is going to be your soulmate, and so if it wasn't a match, or you think it was a match and she didn't, or vice versa, like that's okay. Move on. Like there's other people out there, and I feel like the reason online dating is good because it's opened up the number of people that you meet. And for me, at the end of the day, it's all about increasing the number of people you meet, because eventually you'll find somebody who you're like, wow, this person's awesome. Right. And they're going to think the same of you. And so, meeting 50 people give you a higher chance of doing that than meeting 5 people.
And another advantage to meeting as many people as possible not only increases your chances of meeting a really wonderful person, but also allows you an opportunity to learn from those 50 people.
Oh, yeah.
It helps you learn about yourself. So I feel like, to your point, Wanru, that you made earlier, where to be clear on what you want, I would also say to be clear on who you are too, right? Because if you and what you want in life and what's important to you, what are your values, what do you want in the next 50 years or whatever, and and then does this person or will this profile fit that plan? The other thing I will say, coming from my perspective, that I think might be useful for folks who want to be there for their friends who are looking, is look at your network of people that you know, because going back to your point about how looking for love is the same as looking for a job, or you can make those parallels. When you, at least I'm talking as a recruiter in HR, right? The number one most successful way that I have been able to hire people is through referrals. Number one, because they know this person they can give you some background, they can vouch for this person. It can get a little slippery slopey if it doesn't work out, but who cares? It's worth it, right? Roll the dice. But I think that the referrals, if you're someone who has a wide network, and think about not just like the people that you go to lunch with or whatever, have parties with, but even outside of that, like old colleagues, maybe you're no longer working there, but you still keep in touch via LinkedIn or wherever. Or what I was thinking too, like restaurants. Like people that you run into, or your exercise class that you go to, or your alumni organization that you go to, or that, that checkout girl that's so nice to you all the time, at Ralph's or wherever, just start thinking a little bit wider in terms of your network. And, and you never know.
Absolutely.
They don't have to be your best friend and then you introduce them to your single friend.
True. And as I mentioned, the online dating tool is not a crutch. It is a tool at your disposal. And you have many other tools, just like being flirtatious, being open, being fun, and just talking to people. Yeah. Right? And asking people and letting people know you're looking.
And I think too that one of the ways that someone coming from my perspective, can be supportive is to also just listen. To your friends. And you don't necessarily, like I tend to do this a lot, is to come to the table with like problem solve mode. Sometimes they don't want to hear that. They're just like, I don't need to hear your problem solving. Are you out in the jungle with me?
You're in the jungle.
So shut up. So maybe what you need to do is just listen. Listen to what they have to say. And, where appropriate, go ahead and give your 2 cents. But I think that there's a lot to be gained from just listening.
Absolutely.
Would you agree? Like what you would want to hear, you on Ruin, like in terms of like from
it's nice
people?
To have a supportive ear. And for those of you who are doing online dating, I recommend getting a a posse. Like you should kind of team up with other people who are in the same boat as you, usually of the same gender, so that you guys can support each other through this sometimes emotionally draining and awkward situations.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree.
So that's interesting that you mentioned employing your networks. Because Hua, would you tell us now about how you met your now wife?
Sure, yeah, and it was not through online dating. So I was doing exactly what you described.
Yeah.
Actually, it was like not just relying on online dating. I was also spending time with friends, asking them to set me up. Exactly what you just talked about, referral business, right? And I think typically what happens is you talk to a friend, they ask you about dating, and then you're like, they think of like, oh yeah, okay, I should set you up with this so and so, and then you say great. And then it never happens, right? And so you, as a person who wants to get set up, like you got to harass them, you know, like follow up, like, hey, you said you're gonna set me up, like, well, why haven't you set me up, right? And so I was having lunch with a former colleague, and like we're just hanging out talking, and I was asking her, like, yeah, do you have anybody you want to set me up with? She's like, oh, I haven't thought about it. Let me think on it. So I said, okay, great. So afterwards, I emailed like, hey, so I know we thought that you were gonna set me up. Like, what do you got for me? And she's like, oh, yeah. Let me think about it, right? And so she eventually set me up with a woman, cute, very nice, no chemistry. And so, I had dinner with her because it was a friend who set me up. And so...
nice of you to invest in the dinner.
Yeah,
nice.
know. And so, anyways, nice woman, no chemistry, so it was fine. So nothing happened after that. And then so I had lunch with my friend again, and asked her, like, same friend.
Okay.
I was like, hey, and she was like, oh, hey, how'd the date go? I'm like, it was great, but just no chemistry. Set me up again
With somebody different.
with somebody else.
So she fine-tuned.
And then so she's like, like, really? I was like, yeah, no, set me up again. She's like, all right, let me think on it. And so follow up with her afterwards, and then she's like, all right, let me check in. And then so 2 weeks later, she emails me and she's like, hey, I don't have anybody, but actually my friend wants to set up her friend. Right?
And look at that. That's a network connection of someone outside. It's like two connections away, right? Yeah.
Right. And so I was like, yeah, cool. I'd be willing to go out with her. Turns out her friend is the first girl I went out with. So the first girl I went out with,
So
now
no
setting me up with girl number 2. Yes.
Is introducing you to someone else.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that was nice of her.
Okay. That's really like collaborative, isn't it?
It is. It's very generous of no chemistry girl.
Okay, so let's see what happens.
So I go on this date with a second woman, and no chemistry.
What? I didn't
okay,
know this. I hadn't heard this story. I didn't know it was going this way.
Okay. So no chemistry.
No chemistry. So this was one of those, after like 45 minutes, an hour of drinks, I was like, all right, nice meeting you.
Yeah.
I've got a thing I got to go to.
My parking meter is up and I need to put some coins in it. Goodbye.
And so
I think I left my iron on at work. At home. I was ironing and I think it's on.
All right. So you skedaddled out of there.
So yeah, skedaddled out of there. And then I don't reach back out because like, why?
What for?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Which is fine, right? It's fine. It's one date. And then I continue doing my dating thing.
And then the no chemistry girl number 2 introduces you to no chemistry girl number 3.
So
was it a chain?
Anyways, I don't reach out to her. Like months later, woman number 2 emails me out of the blue, and I was like, hey, I know we didn't have any chemistry, which is totally cool. No big deal.
Wow.
I've got this coworker.
What?
And coworker is now the wife.
Wow.
Oh my God. I just have to applaud that. Amazing.
So, it's like,
wow,
you weren't good enough for me, but for my blind friend, maybe you could,
wow.
But, anyways.
And it's women helping women.
Yes.
That's what this is telling me.
Oh my gosh. And actually,
this is great.
That's another great tip, which is that don't take it personally, right? If it doesn't work out for you, you can think, who might this be a good fit for?
Yeah.
Or kind of think outside the box. This is a real outside of the box dating scenario.
You know what? This is a true testament to Hua.
Yeah.
The fact that people would feel good about referring somebody else to you says a lot about you.
Yeah, you did all right.
As a person. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you didn't ask these women right? At the time,
Right,
like,
no.
hey, you feeling it? Because I'm not. I'm sure you're not either. But if you've got some friends, hook me up, girlfriend.
Throw them my way.
Yeah, I'm open. Give me a call, hit me up. You didn't do that.
Did not.
See?
No, I got lucky.
Whoa.
It was just because of you, who you were. That's cool.
That's good. That's
So it
pretty
pays to be a good person.
And I think also,
Yeah.
again, like, it's just like expanding the number of people that you end up
Absolutely.
meeting up with, right? And so
Yeah.
it's just another way to do it.
And you didn't close yourself off. You didn't say to yourself, oh, this is weird that I dated her friend. You were like,
one date.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, be open.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Okay.
And I think that's a great
I like it.
last thing to end on, which is be open. Because I think we get fixated on this checklist, or we get fixated on who we think we're going to be with. But actually, what I've discovered is that you may think you may know what you want on paper or visually or physically or, requirements wise, but you never know how someone's going to make you feel. And actually, people can make you feel amazing. This is not a sexual thing, but it can be sexual.
What's happening?
Raffaello, call me. No, but I'm just saying the way they can make you feel is amazing. I've had so many amazing connections with so many guys. Raffaello, talking to you. There's no Raffaello. I'm just
Isn't that a restaurant in Silver Lake? 4.5 stars.
1,000 Yelp reviews. No. I'm just saying be open, because you're gonna rule someone out for some arbitrary characteristic, but what you're really doing is closing yourself off to this amazing connection. So just be open and just have a good attitude when you meet people.
And
good advice.
would you say, Hua, that your experience online dating and even during phase one sort of almost trained you, maybe in some way, right, to be open to the way that this path led to your wife?
Yeah, I think.
Would you have done this? Would you think, even like the 10-year ago, Hua?
I would not have been as assertive in getting my friend to set me up. And so that's when I talk about kind of the phase two, when we talk about the phase two of being more intentional about it, treating it more seriously. I think you got to do all of it more seriously.
And there's no shame in it or anything like that. 'Cause
No
I
shame
think-
in your game.
Because I feel like there's some people who are like, I can't ask people. I mean, come on. I don't want them to feel like. So what you're saying is, don't worry about
Get
it.
rid of all
No,
that. Yeah.
no. Just
Get
chuck
rid of the
that out the
hang-up.
window.
Yeah, all bets are off.
I
Yeah.
mean, what is more important to you? It depends on the person. For some people, they don't care. But what is more important than that partnership, that person that you're going to call your partner and go through life with you? What's more important than that?
Right.
It's just your family, your partner, your life. That's it, right? So, no shame in your game.
Yeah,
just
no
go
shame in
for
your
it,
game.
because that's a very huge part of your life.
That's awesome.
And now Hua's married.
Aww.
Success story.
So all of Wanru's friends.
They tried.
Yeah.
They've tried.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we're still exploring. Under the
What is that?
No rock. What is that term? No rock.
No rock left
unturned.
unturned.
For those on the listening podcast, Gold is just pantomiming lifting up rocks.
Yes, this is an advertisement to look at our YouTube page so that you know what we're doing here. But wonderful.
So on that note, thank you so
Yeah.
much. That
You're
was
welcome.
hugely
Thank
helpful,
you.
Hua.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is very getting my mind open to this brave new
World of online dating.
Yeah.
Here is a segment of products we love. Someday this will come true. Dream sponsors.
This next segment is a segment that we like to call Dream Sponsors, which basically means that these are some groups or products or services that we believe in, but we have no skin in the game because they're not giving us any money to tell you about it.
But
Yet.
we love them but we love them so much that we happily endorse them. And if you want to actually endorse us, reach out. Love to hear from you.
And we just want to share. So as we normally do whenever we have a guest, we ask our guests to recommend any sort of dream sponsors that we may not have even heard of or that we should consider. because it's all on us. So, Hua, who is your dream sponsor?
So I was gonna suggest Bonobos. It's a clothing company. I think it's just for men right now, but it's BONOBOS
Okay.
.com. So they are a clothing company and predominantly online. And so they do have some shops. If you live in the LA area, there's a shop near the Beverly Center where you can go and get fitted. They actually don't carry any inventory there. Like they've got some shirts and you can try on different cuts, and they've got just a whole host of different cuts and styles. And so once you figure out like what is the cut that fits you the best, which I think is just super important for a shirt to look good on somebody, then you can you don't buy any clothing there. Then actually what they do is like, oh, okay, you're a standard slim medium length. Okay, great. Here's an iPad. Here are all the shirts we have in that type of cut. And so you go and you select shirts, and once you pick out the shirts that you like, then you pay just like you do when you buy something on Amazon, and you go home, and then the shirts ship there probably like in 2 days or something.
Wow, that's fast.
And they're free returns, which is really helpful because sometimes a shirt looks good online, but it doesn't look good when you get it. And so you ship it back, and it's super easy. And so this is a Bonobo shirt, a shirt that I'm wearing
Very
now.
nice.
yeah,
It looks
so go on
great.
our YouTube page if you want to see the shirt.
And yeah, no, I really like it. It's probably the place I buy most of my shirts now, just because it's so easy, and I know the cut's gonna fit, so I don't have to go on trying
Oh, that's
shirts.
great.
Like, I don't like the process of shopping and trying things on, and this fits good, this doesn't fit good, etc. And so I know the cut that fits me, and so when I see something, I just buy it, and I have there's space anytime trying stuff on.
And they have lots of different designs and patterns, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it all button down or?
No, they have all kinds
Different
of
kinds.
they have button downs, they have short sleeve, they have pants, they have shorts. Yeah, they have the whole host of jackets, all of it.
And you cannot be understated the impact of a well cut suit, shirt, pants, everything. So if you can determine what style or what cut looks good on you, you've just saved yourself a lot of misery.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Because how many times have you been shopping and you're like, oh, it looks good at the department store, but then you get it at home and you look bleh. So while you were saying that as of now, you believe it's for men only, but they might have it for women.
I believe so. Yeah. So I'm not
Okay.
sure. They also sell through Nordstrom's, I think, and so that's another place you can go and check them out if people are interested.
Yeah, you had mentioned that if you were to buy it online or just regularly, they're a little just a smidge pricey in that they're what, like $80, something like
Yeah,
that.
I want to say probably like a shirt like this is a long sleeve button down shirt. It's probably like 80 to 100.
Yeah.
But they also have sales, and so you can always just look out for sales as well. And then I think they also sell through Nordstrom and Nordstrom Rack. And so
Awesome.
if you get them at Nordstrom Rack, you can get them for much cheaper, I'm sure.
Wonderful.
Anyways, you only need one really sharp shirt to go on a date, right? That could be like your date shirt.
But don't wear it again on the second date, though.
But don't wear it. So you
Put it
got
on your Excel spreadsheet so that you remember.
Which shirt you wore?
so you got a first date. Just keep it simple. First date shirt, second date
Nice,
shirt,
Wanru.
third date
Nice.
shirt, right?
The pupil becoming the master.
Yes.
So our producer Gertie actually just did a check on the website, and it looks like they do have
yay. Nice.
merchandise for women as well. So ladies out there, check them out as well.
Great.
I just feel like I went through a dating boot camp with my personal dating coach, Hua. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Yes, thank you, Hua.
Oh, you're so
Yeah.
welcome. This is so much fun to join you all for this time.
So I feel like I got my butt kicked. How did you feel, Golda?
I feel like my eyes just got wider. I had no idea, and I really appreciate you both your insights and it's. And what I'm taking away real quick, since we're on me,
Yes, yes.
is how you do have to make a concerted effort. It sounds like, and you have to really pay attention, and but come to it knowing what you want out of it, and and also being open, being able to pivot too, because I think that online dating is one path or one way, one resource for you. But, to Wa's experience there, it ended up being a referral several layers deep, to get to the love of his life. So you just never know. You just never know, right?
Yeah. So what about you, Hua? What will you take away with you today?
I think for me, it's just reminding me of the process, and sometimes it can be fun, and sometimes it can be not fun. And so during those times where if you have a bad date or somebody you liked isn't calling you back, again, just try not to let that get to you, and just trying to move on and get back on the proverbial horse, and keep going, because like I tell people, sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm just gonna take a break and I'm just not gonna do the online thing for a couple of months. Like nobody's gonna come beat down your door and magically appear during those 2 months, right? And so try not to get to the point where you are too discouraged or feel like you need to get to that point. So so that's one. And then the second, and this is really important, especially for the men out there, really, really encourage you to change your name to Raffaello. So,
Wanru will swipe right every time.
every time.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. It's a very sexy name. What can I say? Oh, those are great takeaways.
What about you, Wanru?
My takeaway is this vision of Hua bursting through these walls of rejection and disappointment. Everyone a hurdle, and he just like jumped over it. That's a better visual, like hurdles, like in the Olympic hurdle race. He just was like, boom, 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 jump, boom, 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 jump. Oh yeah, no chemistry. Boom, jump, jump, jump. Because he saw the end goal. And not that it's not hard or it's not discouraging, but with energy, effort, and intention, he actually reached his end goal of his wife, who's lovely. Hi, Ivy, by the way.
Hi, Ivy.
We
We've
love
never
you.
met, but we've heard so much about you.
And you know what? To be fair, Hua has always been very encouraging to me. He's a good support network for me, because he's always asking me, how many guys are you talking to? You need to up your numbers. That was one of his first things he would tell me. You gotta up your numbers. And I would whine and say, it's so much energy. It takes effort to text, blah, blah, blah. And he says, how hard is it to open your phone and send a message? It takes 2 seconds, right? And is it not important to you? If it's not important to you, then don't put the effort. But if it is important to you, then you got to invest some time.
Good coaching.
Yeah, I kicked my butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great coaching.
Great coaching.
Let me ask you this: if our listeners had any specific questions, and they want your
Yeah.
perspective, would you be open to responding?
Sure,
maybe-
of course.
Yeah, maybe we can have a Q&A for Hua on our Facebook page or something.
Yeah, we'll have some follow up. Any specific, Q&A type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Sounds
well,
good.
We've got that on tape. So
Yeah, we've locked him in to a contract.
no
that
backing
he
out of that one.
doesn't even realize. Yeah.
All right. Well, wonderful. Well, if you enjoyed today's episode, we invite you to subscribe to us and also to share us or the show with all of your friends and all of your family members, because we're so happy when you do that. So we tape each episode live, and you can watch us on our YouTube page. It's The Ganru Show. If you just do a quick search on YouTube, look for us there.
Yeah, and you can see Hua's really sharp bonobo shirt.
Yeah.
It's looking really sharp. What'd you say?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're talking offline about looking at the women's section.
Yeah.
You're a good representative of that company.
Yeah. And you can also listen to our podcast on every provider out there: Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Stitcher. And you can ask Siri or Alexa to play us on your home pods and phones.
Yeah. So until next time, I'm Golda.
I'm Wanru.
I'm Hua.
And
this has been the Ganru
Show. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.